Yeah, I mean, we're all frustrated, and we're going to be frustrated, and I'd be pissed if somebody in there isn't.
And what do you feel like your role is in this demise?
Well, obviously we got to get it right. That's my job. That's our job as a coaching staff.
Our era's not going up. It's actually going down right now in terms of just being able to put the whole package together to win ball games. We've got to stop that slide, stop this spiral.
Hey everybody, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Welcome back. All smiles over here.
And yeah, sure.
We're smiling through the pain.
That's
Cover 4,
yeah.
presented by JCPenney. We're cover 3 today. We miss you, Manny, but we are going to do our best to move on without you. Cowboys fall to the Chargers on a national stage on Thanksgiving, 28-6.
Yeah, they did.
Record bad things are happening when it comes to scoring points, scoring touchdowns. Cowboys have a losing record and are on a not a short week, but Thursday to Thursday to prepare for the Redskins, who also played on Thanksgiving. We're going to cover it all today. So, Dave, get us to kickoff, buddy.
Yeah, Linz. Well, Thanksgiving's behind us, what does that mean? We are in the holiday season. Christmas is right around the corner. Time to start doing that shopping, getting gifts, shipping things, sending packages to friends and family all over the country. So for all of your shipping needs this holiday season, I hope you think of the 2017 Dallas Cowboys, because nobody looks better at mailing it in than these guys.
Yikes, Dave went there. Well, guys, of course, Dak had a terrible game, and we just have to admit it. But he stays winning with the bow ties because, of course, Phillip Rivers, the bolo ties are never a good look.
Looks all right when you're winning, though.
Did you really just do that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, mailing it in.
Did you watch that game? I'm sorry.
Okay, let's take a look and go back, relive it a little bit, and we're going to break it down and give you guys fact or fiction on a few rumors swirling around. All right, first things first, guys.
What do you got?
Cowboys offense. They're not going to look the same until Ezekiel Elliott is back way, way, way down by Christmas. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
Fact.
What else could it possibly be? And I sat here for a long time and tried to say they'd be fine. They have good running backs like Alfred Morris, Darren McFadden, Rod Smith. They can handle the load. They have the offensive line to run the ball. And it honestly hasn't been terrible, but with as atrocious as this offense has looked without Ezekiel Elliott, how can you think it's magically going to get better without him? I think we would have seen some semblance of competency by now if that was going to happen.
Yeah, and I would have said maybe not if Tyron Smith had still been out, but he came back for that game, and they still couldn't really get anything going, moving the ball. And so, you know what? You're right, Dave. Everyone said, oh, this team is so prepared. 2 1,000-yard backs right behind Ezekiel Elliott, but they just don't have the same spark that Zeke does. They don't run it in for touchdowns like Zeke does. So hopefully that can get fixed. We can figure out how to do that, but you're just not seeing the same play calls.
And teams just don't fear the other backs the way they fear Zeke.
They don't have
Fact.
a player on offense that people are afraid of without Zeke.
Next up, the Cowboys are capable of winning the next 5 straight. Fact or fiction?
I got to go fiction on this one. I know that's depressing, but what we've seen so far, I mean, this has been a 3-game losing streak of bad games. They just have not been themselves. They have no identity right now. I cannot see them pulling together to even get 3 more wins, maybe.
You can't project the entire season, 5 more games just like that. But after watching what we've watched, and it's one thing to get blown out by the Philadelphia Eagles, who have the best record in the NFL, but a Los Angeles Chargers team that has been stop-start, mistake-prone, and mediocre for the entire season, to come in here and embarrass them like that, how could you call this anything but fiction?
Absolutely.
All right, that's what we decided to go with. Fact or fiction, this is the worst 3 games in a row of the Jason Garrett era. I would have to say fact.
Oh, that's
the number.
That's fact all the way. I mean, Dave and I were sitting in the press box, and I said, what was the last time that the Cowboys were shut out? Because that's what we were looking at into the 3rd quarter. We were thinking that this was going to be a shutout game. And Dave, what was it, 1991?
At home, 1991.
Yes. Yes. So very embarrassing. And before that, I think it was 2003 on the road.
Yep.
So to see that they were close to a shutout against the Los Angeles Chargers on Thanksgiving, this has to
Cowboys have been held to less than 10 points for 3 games straight, and that goes back to, can you win 5 straight? That's why we say fiction, because points are not being scored.
Where do you get the confidence that this team can pull something like that off after 3 games like this? And yeah, you can think back to 2015 if you want to. They lost 7 straight without their quarterback, without Tony Romo. Dak Prescott's been here the whole time. Tyron Smith came back for this Thanksgiving game. Yeah, you don't have Ezekiel Elliott, but you would have liked to think there's pieces in place that you can win some games.
What's the slogan that's on the sweatshirt that Garrett always wears?
Fight?
Fight.
Hey,
Haven't
where's
seen
the
a lot
fight
of it.
been?
Haven't seen a lot of it.
Hey, maybe we'll see some next week. against the Redskins. Last fact or fiction for you, did the Chargers' loss feel worse than the previous two? They've lost 3 in a row now.
No doubt, no doubt. I mean, Thanksgiving Day, we're all celebrating. You think that this team has a little bit of juice, and they had nothing, Dave.
I think you can tell just by the energy of this show right now that this loss felt way worse than the other two. Like I said, the Eagles are one of the best teams in the league. The Falcons went to the Super Bowl last year, even if they're having a mediocre season right now. Those are solid teams. No offense to Phillip Rivers and the Chargers, but like I said, they are not having a great season. They have plenty of ugly losses in their own right. It's one thing to lose to them, but to lose to them in the manner that the Cowboys did on Thanksgiving, it feels like one of the 5 worst losses of Jason Garrett's tenure here.
It just didn't feel like anybody got hyped for the national stage.
None whatsoever.
But there was some talk of the town, Tay. A lot going on Thanksgiving through the weekend to looking ahead to the Redskins.
Absolutely. Of course, we have seen a lot of weird kicker stories this season. So you guys, did you see what happened here yesterday?
Just straight up missed the net. Where did that even go?
Straight up missed the net.
Actually, it went to some lucky fan in the mezzanine, I think.
Yeah, the punter trying to fill in and just absolutely brutal.
This is the 3rd Cowboys game where we've seen a kicker problem. It was Dan Bailey to start. Then it was Jake Elliott against the Eagles. Now the Chargers. I've never seen this many kicker injuries ever. Yeah, it's bizarre.
And we've had a lot of O-line questions, but we are not questioning the heart of this O-line. They had a very special moment that was filmed earlier this month where they surprised a family with returning their dad home. If you guys want to check out this awesome commercial.
Thanksgiving's about family and giving back.
Hey, sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie?
Sweet potato all day long.
As NFL players, sometimes we're fortunate to be part of what this holiday's all about.
We're basically brothers on the whole line. We treat each other as family. We love doing things together.
It's pretty good.
It was awesome that Ford made this happen.
Our plan was to surprise and thank a military family.
My dad loves the Dallas Cowboys. I miss watching Cowboys games with him.
Our love of the Cowboys brings our whole family together, even when Zach isn't around.
He's a U.S. Marine. He seems to miss everything.
Thank you so much for your sacrifice, for your son's service, and for your husband's service.
We were super excited to be invited by the Cowboys to see their new headquarters. It's a pretty big honor.
That is a shot right there. You want to come look at this locker room? It's a little bit different than our players' locker room. I think it smells a little better.
Happy Thanksgiving. Where's the turkey?
Seeing Zach walk in, it's like, oh, wow, that's awesome.
I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
It's not just a reunion, I guess. It's like a relief also. It's like you can turn off the worry valve for a little bit.
I can't imagine the sacrifice that military families make for us to be able to have our Thanksgivings at home.
Nothing like having Thanksgiving dinner with the Cowboys.
That was very nice, but what wasn't nice was what Chad Ochocinco was saying on Twitter on Thursday night. He had a lot to say about Des Bryant not being included in the offense and
Coach
a little
Ocho,
bit more.
I guess.
Coach Ocho was all the salt.
Yeah, he's I guess diagnosing everything the Cowboys need to be doing.
Yes. Now, this is what Phillip Rivers did to the Cowboys defense, just carving it away.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah, just.
I want to see what Phillip Rivers does to his turkey on Thanksgiving after what he did to the Dallas defense.
He has a lot of kids to feed.
Yeah,
now, Desmond King, Dave, you remember him from the draft.
Iowa.
He predicted that his first interception would be a pick six. So, hey, it took you a little bit into the season, but
hey, good for you, Desmond. I mean, not good for the Cowboys, but clearly he knows what he's talking about.
He knew.
That's pretty cool. He made talk of the town. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Dak Prescott, the holiday season, it all goes together, and it is going to warm your heart. Stick around.
Cowboys Cover 4 is brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. Academy, the official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' films and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
Welcome back for more Cover 4 presented by JCPenney. So Thanksgiving Day was probably hard if you're a Cowboys fan.
A little bit.
So we're going to bring you something to brighten your day. If you've ever wondered what Dak Prescott does with his spare time or where he lives, what's in his house, well, we have the perfect thing to show you. This is the first thing Dak sees when he walks through his door, and it's got a really cool story behind it.
it's at the door where his keys are. So I think that, and he emphasized that everyone sees it when it comes in, and he made sure he tell them that he drew it.
And once I was told, I didn't believe it. You see the painting, and it's an incredible painting, and for someone to say to a young kid who doesn't have arms, you're like, yeah, no way. It's inspiration, it's special, and he's a special kid. It was a special moment at my camp, coming off the side, knowing the kid that I was going to meet, and I seeing him, and seeing a shy kid, going up to him initially, talking to him.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you, man. I appreciate that. That's something wrong. Real well. You can ask him where it is. As soon as you walk in my house, it's right there, right where I get my keys from. I appreciate that.
What did he say when you met him?
He told me where my painting was hanging up at his house, and how he was glad that I did it.
How'd that make you feel, Kendra?
Good. I never had nobody say that to me before.
For me, it was just about trying to make him smile, just trying to allow him to be happy and just to embrace that moment. And it was touching for me. Even though he was quiet and shy, you could see the smile and the positive attitude and just aura he carried within himself, and it was contagious to me.
But when he looked Kendrell in the eye and said, hey man, that painting you did for me is hanging in my house, right by where I hang my keys, I see it every day. Well, of course I lost it and cried, but I mean, that was a big deal. That was a huge big deal for Kendrell.
Kendrell doesn't talk much, but the little that he do say, I think it's giving him a way to come out more. It's giving him something to talk about. I know he's happy about it. I can't say that much.
Dak has been touched by illness and death. It's personal to him. Because of that, he cares about people, and this community rallied around him and loved him when he needed somebody to love him. And I think that he's just paying it forward.
It's been 4 years since Dak lost his mother to cancer. But her influence and inspiration lives on through him and the lives he's touching. Since meeting Dak, Kendrell's life has changed. The shy kid who took a bus an hour each way to the TK Martin Center for Technology and Disability, these days he wants to explore attending college, studying art, potentially at Mississippi State. He even has his next painting in mind. The inspirational words that Dak's mother instilled in him.
I want to paint a quote from his mama that she used to give him when he was growing up: fight, finish, faith.
What do those words, fight, finish, faith, mean to you?
Never give up no matter what you're going through, and keep your eye on the prize.
Your mom saying is in a small town in Mississippi affecting a young boy's life.
It means a lot, and simply on the fact because it means that I'm doing what my mom asked me and allowing her to be my story. So that touches a place in my heart that I'm executing my mom's mission to me. Fight, finish, faith, it's simple for me. It's my mom. It's allowing her to be my message, allowing her to be my story, and that Kendrell can use that as inspiration and use that to make him a better person and to make him think positive as he already does, and to make him just be better and continue to grow. It's just simply amazing.
That is really amazing and very cool to see that whole story.
Dak does so much outside of here that's really neat. Good on you, Dak. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got hindsight 2020. Isn't it always when you can look back and say, we should have done this? Why are you singing Barry Church? Well,
we miss you, church.
Barry.
We'll take you to church. We like to act like we're really smart and do hindsight 2020 every now and then. To make ourselves feel good, right?
We are smart.
When you look back, it all seems to make sense. And you saw Barry Church before we went to break. We missed that veteran leadership. All those guys that walked in free agency. Are you sad, Dave?
I am sad. I miss Barry.
We definitely do. I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence, Tyrone Crawford, Orlando Scandrick, they're all doing the job. I mean, Sean Lee is probably the biggest leader on that entire defense, but he's been out and he's been injured, so he's been doing his own thing. Now you got guys that you have to really catch up to speed in Jordan Lewis, Xavier Woods, Taco Charlton. They need someone to follow, and that would have been probably Barry Church, Brandon Carr, those
Your
guys.
quarterback of the defense back there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You could have kept one of those guys if you really wanted to.
Oh, Dave works in the front office as well. Just let you guys
obviously.
know
He
that.
does. He's clicking away on the calculator.
For sure.
All right, hindsight 2020, continuity on the O-line is obviously a big deal.
It's a huge deal. I mean, the cadence, Dave, you know, that helps everything. The pass blocking, the run blocking.
Honestly, you're right, and Ron Leary's a great player. This one doesn't bother me as much as the defense. I know Tyron Smith's been out with an injury. It definitely didn't look pretty when he wasn't there. It definitely hasn't looked pretty without Zeke. This one, they definitely haven't lived up to the billing, but I think the pieces are in there for them to be fine in the long run. But when you're talking about not having Zeke and shuffling these guys, Tyron going out, Lyle Collins showed up on the injury report. It's hard to overcome all that stuff.
Zach
Martin. Zach Martin's going to be on the injury report this week, so it doesn't look like it's going to get better anytime soon.
Guys, we should have known that these distractions would take a toll in some capacity.
Oof.
That's a big one. We should have known.
No doubt. I mean, it affects everybody's mental capacity. These guys are very strong humans. Obviously, they're in the NFL. But mentally, you're getting bogged down by everyone asking you about the anthem, what's going on with Jerry Jones, what's going on with Zeke. It's been an exhausting season. So to have to balance all of that and then, oh, just go play football, I think that's a little bit easier said than done sometimes.
This team plays under a bigger magnifying glass than any other team in sports.
No doubt.
And that's just when there's no controversies surrounding them. So just go ahead and roll about 5 of those this season into the equation. It's not very surprising to see. And you cannot convince me that all of that off-field stuff hasn't contributed in many ways to some of the poor performances.
All right, the roster depth can save you from a collapse, say like the last 3 games the Cowboys have had.
I would have thought so. I mean, we're looking at, they have 6 wide receivers, so many offensive linemen, so many running backs on this team, too many cornerbacks. It's just like, no, that's a little bit flawed right now.
I'll even go back and say, in training camp in the summer, I thought the Cowboys' depth was as good as it had been in a while. From 1 to 53, it looked like a strong roster, but the problem is you weren't counting on having to see so much of that depth. You weren't counting on Tyron Smith missing games. You weren't counting on Ezekiel Elliott being out for 6 games. So it's one thing to say that the depth is good when it doesn't have to play. Clearly, when those guys have had their opportunity to make up for it, they haven't been able to do so.
Very true. Very true.
We're going to take another break, and now it's time to shift our focus looking forward to Kirk Cousins and the Redskins. They also played on Thanksgiving night, and they sure did keep it 100. That's next. We've discussed the Cowboys did not do this on Thanksgiving night, but the Redskins did, and they will be in town in just a few days. So let's talk about who was keeping it 100. First up, Jameson Crowder. He was running all over the place.
Yeah, Jameson had himself a day, 141 yards. Could you imagine that, Dave?
Honestly, this is so fitting because the Redskins did not play a great game against a bad opponent, but they got the job done at home in a game they had to win. Something maybe the Cowboys could have taken a lesson
Is it
from.
bad that when I think of chunk plays, I now think of Phillip Rivers and I also think of Kirk Cousins?
Oof.
Is that bad?
Kirk Cousins is I think he's underrated. I know people talk a lot about whether the Redskins should extend him or whatever, what his long-term future is. I think he's a damn good quarterback, and he shows it time and time again, especially in big games.
All right, what about Josh Dotson, the young guy from just up the road at TCU? He's starting to show up a little bit, guys.
He is. I mean, he was a guy that the Cowboys had their eye on in the draft, and to see him show up big time, prime time on Thanksgiving, he did it with a wonderful catch. So, hey, I'm happy for him. He's a Texas guy, but not happy that he'll be making his way back home this week.
That's going to be something they got to deal with.
Samaje Perine had a 100-yard game on Thursday night.
Man, all these guys having 100-yard games, it's just so foreign to me, Dave.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And I mean, honestly, the Cowboys were decent against the run against the Chargers. That's not the problem. So hopefully they can keep this guy in check when the Redskins get to town. But it sure as heck looks like everybody on this team had a good night against the Giants.
Look at next man up. I mean, they had Rob Kelly, then they had Chris Thompson.
Point,
then
Taylor.
they had Samaje Perine.
Using our own argument against
Awesome.
us. Okay, what about the final one? Does this one worry you? Ryan Kerrigan with 2 sacks.
It does worry me because
More
Dak has
sacks coming?
more sacks coming.
More
we
sacks.
We need
More life.
Tank to just take Kirk Cousins down all day long. The right-handed one, because he had the left-handed one.
Cowboys have 1 sack in their last 3 games, just for whatever that's worth.
Okay, that might all change on Thursday. Let's talk more about that when we go to OT after the break.
Cowboys Cover 4 was brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. SWBC Mortgage, prepare to win. Call SWBC for all your insurance needs. And by the Dallas Cowboys Football Club. Want to tour AT&T Stadium? For more information, call 817-892-TOUR or visit dallascowboys.com/tours.
Just a few more days until the Cowboys are back on the field, so let's get final thoughts. Tay, can they turn it around?
Yes, I know we have talked all show long about how uninspired this team has played, but we're getting into My Cause, My Cleats for Week 13, so maybe they will play a little bit more inspired.
At the outset of the show, I said I thought you should use the Cowboys for all your mailing needs this holiday season. That was a mistake, and I apologize for that, because the way the Cowboys have been playing offense the last 3 games, your stuff probably wouldn't get there anyway. So maybe use the Postal Service or UPS. I don't know, something else, not the Cowboys.
Oh my gosh.
Ball humbug, Dave. That's
humbug.
We'll
Happy holidays.
later on this week for more Cover 4 presented by JCPenney.